Good evening, race fans. My name is Felipe Simmons. Welcome to the Green Squad's Pro Street Duck Series at USA International today. I'm going to bring up the race info in just a second here. Very exciting race for you here today at Lakeland International Speedway. As I said before, I'm Felipe Simmons. I'm the guy in the booth today. In terms of the series, in terms of the layout today, we've got the qualifying, of course. We have 5 minutes worth of qualifying. Then we have a 10-lap feature race, or 10-lap sprint race even, with no cautions, meaning that if any incident happens, these drivers are definitely going to have to pay the price. So definitely want to keep their car clean, as this race will set the starting grid for the feature race, which is a 75-lap feature race with cautions and with live race control. Bear in mind, these tyres, well, these drivers even, will not have any additional sets of tyres, meaning these drivers will not get an opportunity to go down pit road and change their tyres, meaning that if they ruin their tyres earlier on in the stint, they're definitely going to be paying the price later on. We're going to jump into qualifying now. Our drivers are setting down their laps now. Just going to jump on board with Jordan Malvar, setting his lap down. I'm going to try and get our issue fixed with that timing tower. Bear with. Just a second here. There we go. Now we can see our current provisional pole sitter. Oh, Spencer Breslin with the 23.03 second. That followed very, very closely by Tyler Evans, with only 600ths or 6,000ths of a second behind him. These drivers are very, very close in lap time. It starts to bleed off. 2/10 behind. You have Silver in the 116 machine. Just waiting our drivers to finish their qualifying laps now, so we're going to advance into the race session in just a couple of minutes here. I think all of our drivers have completed their laps, maybe apart from Anthony R. Adams here in the number 7 machine. We're just going to jump on board with him as he completes his lap in qualifying, as he crossed the line to go P6 with a 123.59. Good lap from him, putting him slap bang in the middle of the field in that P6 spot. You see, these drivers are going to have to battle that oversteer. You can see he's having to be very, very careful with that throttle application to make sure he doesn't spin the tyres. Watching practice, quite a lot of drivers were struggling a little bit with that. I suppose it would be rear tyre temperature. So definitely throughout the racing, that's going to be something we're going to be looking out for, as it looks like he's going to be finishing his qualifying lap there. So I think that rounds out our qualifying results. So I think, yeah, that should be Spencer Breslin on that pole position, Tyler Evans in that second place running out the second row, followed by Silver and then Malvar in the 17 car as your top 4 at the moment, if nothing else changes. Just going to wait for this session to end here. We have around about 30 seconds remaining before we jump into our race session and we can go through the grid here today. I'm excited for this race. I'm sure you are too. I'm eager to get into this for sure. Also, to bear in mind these races as well, these drivers do not have fast repairs, although they are allowed to reset their car between the races. In that race, if you maintain any damage or get any damage during the race, you're going to have to go down pit road and serve that repair time, whether it be 3 minutes, 5 minutes, or even if you blew your engine and it's a 40 minutes or 20 minutes for repairs. These drivers are definitely going to have to look at keeping their nose nice and clean to make sure they do not get into any trouble, as it looks like our qualifying has ended and we can go through our grid here for today's race. On the pole position, we have Jordan Malvar in the 17 machine, followed by Jimmy Silver in the 116 running out your front row, followed by Tyler Evans in the number 3 spot, then Spencer Breslin in the 355 running out your number 4 spot. Then we have Ryan Perkins in 5th, Anthony R. Adams in P6, followed by Geary Reinheimer, Chad Barker, and Anthony Reno in the P9 spot, followed by Robert Cornwell in P10 in the number 57, followed by Michael Crafton, Tyler McRae in that P12 spot, and followed by Chris Kamaya, Colton Gambacorder, I want to say, yeah, Colton Gambacourter in the number 23 machine coming home in P4, and then Dan Place in the number 71 machine running out our grid here today. That is our grid for today's race. We're just going to wait for our drivers to finish spawning in, and we can get our pace lap underway and the green flag running. You can see all the spectators coming out to watch this race today. I'm sure it's going to be a very interesting one. As I said before, this will be a 10-lap feature race, so all of our drivers will go head-to-head for 10 laps, and this will set their qualifying position for the feature race, which is 75 laps directly after this. Make sure you stay tuned for that. We just have a couple more seconds here to wait before our drivers get underway. These drivers are very eager to go. We can hear them revving up their engines as the pace car starts rolling. I think we will have 2 pace laps before we go to green, so these drivers have all the time they need to make sure they're in formation, ready to go. I'm sure excited as it looks like the lights are off on the top of the pace car, so this will be our only pace lap before the beginning of the race. So with the pace car going in at the end of this lap here at USA International Speedway. And yeah, a couple more seconds to go. As it looks like, no, it will be another pace lap, so I was correct. There will be 2 pace laps here. Excuse me for that one. Look like we're going through the grid for that one final time before we get going. Jordan Malvar in the number 17 car will be controlling this restart. So all eyes are on him to make sure he gets a good start and leads the grid off nice and safely, as we'd all like, because no one wants to get caught up behind. Bear in mind, once again, we have no fast repairs, so if any crashes do happen at the beginning of this race, there'll be no recovering from it if it's heavy enough. So you have a couple of drivers blinking in the background. We're going to be going green in just a second here. And this green flag flies here at USA International Speedway. Looks like the 116 of Jordan Silva, or Jordan Sylvia, is going to try around the outside into turn 1. Coming out to turn 2 now. They're still side by sides. It looks like maybe Tyler Evans in the 553 is having a little bit of a look down the inside there. Couldn't quite make it work. Looks like 17 car getting very, very close to that bumper of the 116 of Jordan Sylvia. Jordan Sylvia managed to take that P1 spot off him. As you can see, what I said before, a little bit of oversteer coming out of turn 4 there. These drivers definitely have to watch out for that, as that will hamper their rear tyre wear, as it looks like 503 Tyler Evans is able to go down the inside. Getting that P2 spot, as it looks like we're 2 wide further back as well, between the 355 of Spencer and Jordan Malvar. It looks like Spencer was able to get that position, getting himself up 3 spots, or up 1 spot into P3, excuse me. See, these drivers are still so close together, though we do have a little bit of a breakaway pack forming with our top 3 of Jordan Sylvia, Evans and Breslin. Looks like this will be our battle for the end of the race, so these drivers cannot catch up further behind. The battle going on still. Tyler Evans just having a look down there inside. He knows we only have 10 laps to go. Tyre won't be so much of an issue here. He just needs to make sure he gets out in front so he can get that crucial pole position for the feature race later on today. You see these drivers pushing to the absolute limit here as we're going to go on board with Spencer Breslin. In just a second here, if I can get this sorted out. As we see rolling on the roll bar of Spencer Breslin here, you can see the barrel just roll out in front of them. Looks like our drivers are blinking around just a little bit. I'm not quite sure what that's about. Some brilliant racing so far, however. Brilliant to watch. These drivers are so close. As 5 laps have already gone here at Lakeland. That's only 5 laps to go already. You can see how quickly this race will go as that breakaway pack is beginning to form. As we look further back, we have Jordan Malvar. A little bit of a damage to that right of that car. It looks like the number 10 of Chad Barker getting a little bit loose on the exit of 4 once again. Just maybe opening up the opportunity. Maybe that happens a couple more times. Maybe Jordan will be able to make that move back into that P4 spot, giving him that crucial second row seat. However, we're going to skip back to our leaders here. It looks like a little bit of battle is brewing once again. As it's still the 116 of Jimmy Sylvia currently in that pole. However, Tyler Evans getting oh so close. He's just trying to have that look. He's trying his absolute best at the moment to try and get past him as we're 3 laps to go. As it looks like he's going to be going down the inside. Sylvia chooses to go high. So it looks like Evans on the low line and the 553 is able to make that move stick. However, they're side by side coming down the main straight. Banging doors coming into turn 1. It looks like Jimmy Sylvia is the victim of that. And he's now side by side with the 355 of Breslin to battle for that P3 spot now. As it looks like Evans is able to control both lanes from the front. As it stands, Tyler Evans will be our current pole position sitter as the white flag flies. Well, Spencer Breslin will be able to get past. He's going to maybe try and make a move into the final corner. However, Evans manages to block him off. As it looks like, if Evans can hold it together, Evans will take that heat race win. Absolutely brilliant win from him, Tyler Evans. Great job from him as Spencer Breslin coming home in that P3 spot, followed by Barker. Then Cornwell in P5 is your top 5. Absolutely action-packed sprint race there. It was absolutely brilliant action out front. I'm sure further back it was as well. As we just have a 1-minute warm-up before beginning of the race. I can't access the results, however, unfortunately, so we'll just have a look at the race info once again. This is Year 2 quarter-mile track, so obviously the lap times are a lot shorter, only being in the low 20 seconds. That's 75 laps, as we saw before. It's going to go oh so quickly for this drivers. The driver should have enough fuel to make it to the end, so they should not be making their way down pit road if anything happens. If we do have cautions this time round, so any incidents, the drivers should be able to make their way back up if their car isn't damaged too much. Just, yeah, drivers doing their quick little warm-up before the beginning of the race here. Just a little bit of a snip action we got at the beginning. I'm excited for this one, surely. So it looks like our air temperature is 69 degrees. Can we get a nice for that one in the chat? As it looked like. So now we're going to set out our grid for the beginning of this feature race. We have Tyler Evans in that pole position in the 553, followed by Spencer Breslin in the 355, your front 2. Jimmy Silver in the 116 in the P3 spot, followed by Chad Barker in P4. Robert Cornwell, followed by Geary Reimer. Then Anthony Reiner, followed by Jordan Malvar. Michael Crafton, Ryan Perkins running out your top 10. Dan Place in P11. Anthony R. Adams in P12. Followed by Tyler McRae, Chris Kamaya, and Colton Gambacorta rolling out in that P15 spot. That is your grid for the beginning of this 75 lap feature race here. As we're just getting ready to go once again here in the Pro Street Truck Series, sponsored by Team Goon Squad or run by Team Goon Squad. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the Team Goon Squad channel. Cannot speak tonight. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a moment of the action or any other series that we run. Make sure you get that notification bell half an hour before and when this stream goes live so you don't miss a moment of it or any other series that we do run. Here in Team Goon Squad, every sub, every follow means a lot to us. It looks like our drivers now are on their pace lap once again. So it looks like they're saying it's on that 1 of 75. They may have to reload that. We get the correct lap count in that top left corner. I'm not quite sure what's going on with the tower there. My ticker. So drivers just making sure, some of them weaving further back, maybe to get that initial tyre temperature to give them just a little bit of a slight advantage. While the other drivers who are choosing not to warm up their tyres at the beginning of the race, they'll just give them a little bit more time it will take to warm up their tyres to the optimum temperature. So it may mean, although it may mean extra tyre wear, that you will be up there straight away with the pace and maybe get a couple of positions off the start if they so desire, if the spaces arise. Here's drivers now on their second pace lap, getting ready to go. Green here at Lakeland Speedway. As pace car goes in and we're about to go green here, controlled by the 553 of Tyler Evans. And we go green. So it looks like he gets a decent run on the outside, however, or on the inside rather. So it looks like he managed to hold that pole position. And scratch a little bit of a lead. It looks like we're too wide further back between Sylvia and Breslin for that P2 spot. To go side by side, still into turn 3, so we drive it down onto the apron there in the background. These drivers are still battling very, very early on. Very, very early on in this race. If anything happens now, as it looks like the 116 on the inside of Sylvia is a little bit loose and has to give the position up to Spencer Breslin. And in 355, he's up now. Back into that P2 spot where he began. As we hear some metal crunching in the background. The caution hasn't flown. So it looks like the incident was cleared, or he's able to make his way back out once again. Our top 4 has not changed. That's Tyler Evans in that P1 spot, followed by Spencer Breslin. Then Jimmy Sylvia and Chad Barker is your top 4. We have Michael Crafton though, however, in their number 9. Now at 5 spots, he goes down the inside of the number 10 of Chad Barker, coming into that P4 spot. Crucially, that's at 5 spots from where he began as the first caution of the night flies. Not quite sure what that was. I must get a replay of that in just a second here. Let's have a look what happened for our driver. It looks like, if I can get this sorted, hold on. Done by technical difficulties. There we go. But it looks like it may have been Jordan Malvar in the number 17 involved in this incident. As we're just watching, he just goes down the inside and they bang doors. Sliding down the track. I don't think they collided with the wall, which means they shouldn't have much damage on those street stocks, so it looks like he should be fine. However, that does mean that's our first caution of the night here at Lakeland. Hopefully one of very few. But the saying always goes, cautions breed cautions. After the first one goes, just have one after the other with these restarts. So hopefully these drivers will think, right, we need to drive more safely, and then just get a couple green laps down, and then we can start pushing afterwards near to the end of the race. And maybe they just drive a little bit more conservatively at the beginning, save their tyres just a little bit more, and maybe, just maybe, have extra tyres near to the end of the race. It looks like our top 3 now still hasn't changed. Tyler Evans, Spencer Breslin and Jimmy Sylvia, your top 3 currently. However though, as I spoke before, our current highest climber of Michael Crafton in that number 9 machine up 5 spots from where he began. Now in that P4 spot in the number 9. Great job from him to make his all the way up. However, we are still on lap 7 of 75. There's a long way for this race to go. Anything could change for these drivers. Incidents could happen ahead or behind them. More cautions. Should definitely throw a curveball. It may be the strategy these drivers are trying to play for the race. These drivers just trying to do a gnarly pit fake, maybe to try and get someone to pit. But I don't think no one has gone into pit road. As the pace lights, or the lights on the top of the pace car do go out, which means we're now going 1 to green, I believe. Or maybe 2 to green. Drivers are now lining up now. Once again, in formation to do the third or the second restart of the night. Once again, it'll be Tyler Evans in that 553, controlling your start. Spencer Breslin 355 on the outside line, trying to best him. It looks like he gets a bit of a jump there, Tyler Evans. So it looks like the 116 of Jimmy Sylvia able to jump Breslin in the 355, getting up into that 2 spot. Really good restart from him. We have side-by-side battling further back. It looks like Spencer Breslin is under attack from Michael Crafton, as Crafton goes down the inside into turn 3. Side-by-side once again. Yeah, a little bit loose once again. That's really not what these drivers want, because that's really going to overheat their rear right tyre, and that's definitely going to hurt you later on in the stints. You see the drivers sliding all over the track, pushing that car to the limit. I'm not quite sure if this will hamper these drivers later on in the race with their tyre wear. However, at the moment, he's just thinking about positions. He's up into P3 now. That's 6 spots from where he began, and at number 9. Brilliant job from him as he may be lining up a move on Jimmy Sylvia in the 116. So it looks like he's getting closer once again. He's going to get an onboard off him and see what it's like to drive right behind the driver here at USA International Speedway. Pushing these cars to the absolute limit as he has to look around the outside. Can't quite make it work, so he's going to dive down the inside into turn 1. It looks like he's able to make the move stick on the 116 of Sylvia. That's up 7 spots now. Michael Crafton up 7 spots into that P2 spot, and now he's having a look at that race leader currently of Tyler Evans. As Evans is going to be seeing Crafton in his mirrors, and he's going to be definitely a little bit worried to see the pace that he has so far in this race, getting so close to his bumper. Crafton is pushing that street stock to the absolute limit here at USA International Speedway. Saying an absolute masterclass of the race pace. So it looks like he's going to take a look side by side now. Coming into turn 1 as Michael Crafton bangs doors with the 553 of Evans. It looks like Evans is caught by another driver there. We're going to have to get a replay on that and see who came down into who. We're just going to get a replay of that now with our race leader now of Michael Crafton. It looks like he turns in. And it just looks like Evans just didn't quite turn in at the same angle. Maybe Crafton was expecting Evans to turn in a little bit earlier and stick down low. I'm not quite sure. However, crucially that puts Evans down the order and possibly with damage as well. It looks like the left side of that street stock, at least the front right, looks a little bit banged up. Or the front left even. Which is not what he wants. It doesn't look too bad though. Obviously not being a super speedway track where speed matters, aero damage won't matter as much here. So hopefully he'll be able to make his way back up. With a Michael Crafton in the 9. At least provisionally as your race leader. On lap 16 or 75. As we're just watching again, we are now back under eye-pacing conditions here at USA International Speedway for the second caution of the night. However though, the man to watch is definitely Michael Crafton. He's up 8 spots from where he began. He's now in that P1 position, after having a little battle with Tyler Evans for the battle of the lead that brought out the second caution of the night. It looks like Tyler Evans will be entering the pits. That is not what I meant to do. He will be going down into pit road, and he may be trying to take as many repairs as he can without going a lap down, as it looks like Michael Crafton may have received an EOL penalty as a result of the incident from our live race control, and it looks like, yeah, he's being sent to the back of the grid. So race control pointed him as predominantly in fault, meaning that he has to get an end of line penalty back to the line. That undoes all the great work he had done before. Now he's got to do it all again from the back of the grid once again. I'm sure he'll be able to make his way up very, very quickly. He's shown us how it's done. However though, now race leader is Spencer Breslin in the 355 will be controlling this restart as the lights on the top of the pace car are out. As the pace car goes in, here USA International Speedway. We're going to go green in just a second here. I'm not quite sure what's going on. It looks like the pace car is back out once again. Looks like the pace car maybe decided to take a quick pit stop and some fresh tyres. I am not entirely sure what just happened there. But it looks like the caution may have been extended. So we aren't going green this time on lap 19 of 75. As you can see, the pace car does go in this time. It looks like we'll be going green now, as it looks like there's drivers spinning behind on the restart there. Maybe not the cleanest of restarts. It looks like Spencer Breslin, 355, is able to hold that. However, I'm not sure if we can get a replay on what happened at the back of the grid there. I think some drivers may have got loose or come into each other. It looks like... Who is that? In the yellow car that just spun there. Bear with me just a second here. It looks like it's the number 57 of Robert Cornwell who got caught up in that incident. Not ideal for him. Oh, we're going to go back to our live race broadcast. Spencer Breslin is still our race leader, followed by Anthony Rayner closely behind in that 82 machine. See these drivers having to work it. The 82 getting a little bit loose once again. This is really going to help your tyre wear. If you want to save these tyres and these streak socks, or any tyres, or any car really, you want to make sure you're not overheating those rear tyres and just spinning them more than you need. Like getting that oversteer snap moments coming out of turns 2 and 4 aren't really going to help these drivers in the long run. So you still have 75 laps of this race. Now 50 laps as we cross the line. Or 51 laps as we cross the line pretty much. These drivers still have 50 laps to go in this race. It's all still to go. Anything can happen. It looks like our front two have been able to edge a little bit of a gap. A little bit of a breakaway group forming, as it looks like Barker has fallen about 2 seconds behind our front two at the moment. If we're going to go back to a battle further back, is it looks like Tyler Evans trying to make his way back up the field, trying to line up another take on Reinheimer. Or Reinheimer, sorry, as they're side by side going down the back stretch. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce the name. I apologise if I'm butchering it, as it looks like he's able to make the move down the inside of turn 2. Brilliant move from him, as he's now under threat, as it looks like Ryan Perkins is able to capitalise on that down the inside of number 16. around the outside of the number 6 in the number 16. So it looks like a third caution of the night is thrown. I'm not sure quite what happened. I think it was a thrown, or was thrown by race control because of the restart, I believe. That may have been why that caution was thrown. I can't think of any other reason why. However, our top 5 has changed so much. Spencer Breslin is now our race leader, followed by Anthony Rayner in the P2 position. Then Anthony R. Adams, followed by Chad Barker in the P3 spot. Once again back under eye-pacing conditions on lap 30 of 75 at USA International Speedway. Once again, a pace car getting used a lot here in this race. Drivers going round and round once again as the lights on the top of the pace car have gone off, meaning that we will go green this lap. As we're coming out of turn 2, drivers are back in their lines, getting ready for the third restart of the night. So it looks like Tyler Evans is going down pit road, maybe to serve some extra damage where he can. However, he is still up at that P5 spot. It looks like we're going to go green now. Tyler Breslin getting a good start on that inside line. Chad Barker in that P2 spot there. So going to go side by side into turn 1. So it looks like they're bang doors once again. Barker pushing the 82 up the tracks. It looks like Tyler Evans in the 553 is able to sneak down the inside whilst that's happening and redeem that P2 spot now. Looks like the 10 of Chad Barker even, is trying to fight back. We just can't quite get it as we have some battles going further back for position, as it looks like Crafton being a little bit loose on the top there. Brilliant battling so far, so it looks like Malvar's down the inside of the number 6 of Perkins. Still side by side coming down the back stretch, or down the front stretch. Those look very similar. See more metal crunching in the background as drivers are fighting rigorously for that all important track position. So it looks like the 18 is spun. No, it's not the 18, sorry, it's the 116. Nearly got dumped there, going into the wall. Not quite sure who that was involved in that incident apart from him. I'm sure the 116 won't be happy after that one. He may be looking to get revenge. Hopefully not. But he may be just trying to get a little bit impatient with these drivers now. After that, he may not race them as fairly, maybe, as he was before. This battle still goes on. For a number P7 spot. It looks like we've got more metal crunching, and I hear his tyres spinning in the background there. Not quite sure who that was. Paris once again still too wide coming through those corners. Isn't going to help with their tyre wear once again. They really want to be going one line and just taking the optimum line, making sure they don't push their cars too hard. So make sure they still have tyres at the end of the race to remain competitive. As remember before, these drivers do not have a fresh set of tyres to fit on pit road. They just have the set that began the race in, and that is it. So if they spin or just wear them out too much, they're stuck with those ones. Also, they have no fast repairs as well. So as I mentioned before, all damage that these drivers get will have to repair or just have to live without on track. Some of the cars now starting to look a little bit banged up as a result of our previous incidents in this race. However, we're going to go back to our leaders now. Looks like Spencer Breslin is able to edge that gap up of 1.3 seconds. He's edging that lead now. He wants to make sure he's got a nice cushion behind him, so he doesn't have to worry about the cars behind, and maybe not push as much, saving those tyres. Then we're in the race, so lap 40 of 75 now, 41 as we go across the line. Coming out of turn 4. Driver still rigorously battling behind for that number 8 spot now, as it looks like Adams is able to edge that gap just a little bit. Main battles now between the 17 and the 57 of Cornwell. It looks like Cornwell goes a little bit wide into turn 2. It looks like Jordan Malvar is able to make that move down the inside. Will he be able to make it stick though? Will Robert Cornwell maybe try and make a move back? See Malvar covering that inside line, making sure he does not get the opportunity. It looks like the 17 gets a little bit loose out of the corner, gets tagged by the 57. Looks like no caution is going to fly, but the 17 stops on track. He chooses to go back to the virtual hauler. And maybe the end of his race tonight, if he doesn't make it back out. It looks like now that Robert Cornwell is now trying to move up and just maybe try and make a move on that number 16 car now. Now that he's got that free space behind him, he hasn't got to worry about defending. He can now push and try and gain those track positions back as the gaps get bigger and bigger. That drives, so the fuel just spreads out just a little bit more. Now is the time you want to be making those positions, because if that gap's going to get too big and you won't be able to make it, or you won't be able to close that gaps near the end because it'll be too big. You want to make sure now is the crucial time to get those overtakes done before the gaps get too big. Now between our leaders, the gap is now 1.7 seconds. Spencer Breslin able to edge that gap out even more. Brilliant job from him. So it looks like Michael Crafton is able to make his way up into that P2 spot. And he's now closing that gap to Spencer Breslin. He's back once again, up 7 positions from where he began after where he got sent back to the end of the grid with that EOL penalty. He's already up into P2 and already closing that gap. 1.5 seconds the gap now. It looks like Michael Crafton was 1/10 quicker that last lap by than our leader of Spencer Breslin. So maybe Spencer is maybe thinking now, maybe he's got to use those tyres that he was saving up earlier if he was saving them. Or now is the time to use up those tyres to make sure that gap doesn't get within a window where he's at risk of them being overtaken. Because Crafton knows he is in the position of power at the moment. He has control of the situation. He can control how quickly he gains on him because he's got all the time in the world. He's still got 17 laps remaining of this race to make a move. And it will definitely, this rate of closure, he'll definitely catch him before the end. It looks like 2/10 quicker Michael Crafton was that time by, so he is closing 1.1 seconds the gap now. We have 9 drivers still on our lead lap. Over there, we're going to go back on board with Michael Crafton here. Just see what it's like on maybe these older tyres. Trying to catch to our leader as it looks like we have the 4th caution of the night. As I say that, just going to get a replay of that incident there. I think it was Jordan Malvar in the 17 that was involved this time round. Yeah, I think he just loses the rear and then he gets tagged by the 57. That was the incident before. Very interesting. Not quite sure why that just popped up on my incident screen. However, crucially, this caution means that gap between our leaders has shortened so much that any kind of gap that Spencer Breslin has been able to stretch is no longer a factor. He is now at direct risk with 24 laps to go. 22, I think, when we go green. This is going to be a battle to the end, folks. We know Michael Crafton is faster, but Breslin does have the advantage of obviously controlling the restart. Maybe you try and get a jump to make sure he can maybe try and get that extra couple tenths that he needs to just keep defending and hopefully keep Michael Crafton in number 9 behind. But he's definitely worried because Crafton has got such a great pace. He's a risk to everybody. You know, everyone's got to worry about him. If you have him in your rearview mirror, that is your top priority to make sure you keep him behind, because he's just so quick. I'm not sure what he's doing, if he's underfueled the car or something, or maybe he's just quicker on outright pace. But he is definitely the one to watch out here. Still up 7 positions from where he began in that P2 spot. Still our highest climber, followed by Anthony R. Adams. However, he's up 6 spots from where he began. Now currently in P6. He started in P12. Great job from him. Over though, once again, the man to watch is Michael Crafton, because he is battling for the win now. As we have 4th iRacing restart of the night. On that outside line he goes. See our drivers eager to get going once again. 21 laps to go currently. It is not over yet, folks. It is not over yet. So it looks like the lights are out on the top of that pace car. We'll be going in this time. So we will be going green in just a second here. And it's green, green, green. So it looks like Michael Crafton also getting a really good start on that outside line. He's now ahead, I believe, coming into turn 1. He cuts down. Not giving Breslin a chance to overtake him. As the battle's further back, Anthony Reina having a go on Tyler Evans. for that number 3 spot. It looks like we have some incident behind. It looks like we're going to be able to carry on green. It doesn't cause a caution. Great job on these drivers keeping it all in one piece and facing the right direction. However, Michael Crafton, the one we were all worrying about, is now in that P1 spot. Spencer Breslin, excuse me, is going to be trying everything now. He needs to try his best now to get that position back before Crafton edges too far ahead. He needs to do everything he physically can here to make sure that gap doesn't get too big. Just on board, you can hear the tyres screaming for mercy as these drivers are pushing these cars to the limit as far as they can go, getting the absolute maximum amount of speed and braking performance out of these cars. Goes 15 laps to go, crossing the line now. The Team Green Squad Pro-Am Street Stock Series. Michael Crafton, our current leader in the number 9, closely followed by Spencer Breslin. Still trying his absolute best to close that gap and make sure Michael Crafton does not run away with this. Trying to give up some kind of fight. However, Tyler Evans is still in the fight. He's right behind Spencer Breslin. I'm not sure if he's going to try and chill behind and maybe make a move at the last minute, or maybe try and make a move as quick as he can as the opportunities arise. As he's now pushing his car, getting really close to the bumper of Breslin, maybe trying to make a move into turn 1. No. He chooses to stick him behind. Smart choice from him. He doesn't want to bun up his tyres too much. He wants to make sure he picks the right opportunity to overtake. Gets the perfect opportunity, it will arise. Whether it's him trying to fight Crafton and a gap appears, or they just go a little bit wide. He's just waiting for a mistake from the 355 to capitalise. Rather than wasting time and losing time. So Michael Crafton ahead. He's maybe thinking about the race win a little bit here. He doesn't want Crafton to run away with it. Maybe that's what he's thinking in his head now. He wants to make sure he gets his move done to lose as little time as possible. Just like Crafton is able to wedge that gap just a little bit more. Not as quick as he was to begin with. 4.5 tenths now, 4.5 tenths to gap between our P1 and P2 drivers currently, as it looks like our P3 have kind of formed, or our top 3 even, have formed a little bit of breakaway pack. It looks like Anthony Reiner's out on his own, followed by Robert Cornwell and Ryan Perkins battling for that P5 spot at the moment. However, all of our eyes still remain on our current race leaders at the moment. Michael Crafton, Spencer Breslin and Tyler Evans battling for this race win here with 10 laps to go. Anything can still happen. 10 laps goes very, very quickly here at USA International Speedway because 20-second laps, remember. That's only 200 seconds. Let's go, 9 to go, crossing the line now. So it looks like Tyler Evans is going to go down the inside of Michael or Spencer Breslin, taking that P2 spot now. He chose now as his opportunity. Now is the time to push now. Will he be able to catch Michael? Oh, yeah, Michael Crafton before the end of the race. We'll have to wait and see. So it looks like Michael Crafton getting loose on the exit of 4 there. Not what he wants. He wants to make sure he gets a little wheel spin as possible to make sure he loses the least amount of time. He's going to go back on board with Tyler Evans now as he closes down the number 9 of Michael Crafton. Battling for this race win here with 8 laps to go. As pressure is all mounting up on these drivers now, especially our front 3. You can just see the 553 of Tyler Evans getting so just slowly closing down on Michael Crafton. Maybe it's because of the draft, or maybe he's just using that line and just copying him. It looks like he's able to gain a little bit of time there, as it looks like Crafton goes a little bit wide on exit of turn 4. You can see now Tyler Evans getting right up to the bumper. We still have 6 laps to go here. Anything can happen once again. The drivers are pushing their absolute hardest out of these machines now. Tyler Evans must be trying his hardest to overtake Michael Crafton now, especially with the race win on the line. With 5 laps to go now, we have a lap car out in front, I believe. We can just get a number. I believe, yeah, that is the number 82 of Anthony Reina. He's going to go high here to let our leaders past. However, that gap's got bigger now. That gap's 5/10 between our leaders now with 4 laps to go. Will Tyler Evans be able to close that? Will Crafton be able to keep it clean? It looks like the gaps have just got a little bit bigger now between our top 3. However, 3 laps to go. Anything can still happen still. As the white flag flies, here is the final lap at USA International Speedway. As it stands, Michael Crafton will be our race winner. If nothing else happens, he rounds out turn 3 now, getting oh so close to that wall, using every inch of track there is. The checkered flag flies as Michael Crafton comes home to win this feature race. He is one very happy man, followed by Tyler Evans in that P2 spot. Spencer Breslin coming home in P3. That is our top 3 for tonight. As we finish out here, let's just wait for our drivers now to cross the line so we can get our race results up. As you can see, Michael Crafton pulling a couple power slides there in celebration. He is one very, very happy man. Indeed. Now going to pull up our race results here, if they will appear. Stand by. Looks like our race results are not appearing. We may have to do one more overlay reset. Just stand by here, folks. That's certainly one interesting race. Unfortunately, I cannot get that final results to come up, unfortunately. However, you know, our winner today of Michael Crafton, he must be one happy man, followed by Tyler Evans in that P2 spot. Spencer Breslin coming home in P3, followed by Robert Cornwell coming home in that P4 spot, 1 place up from where he began. Chad Barker coming home in P5. Then Ryan Perkins at 4 spots from where he began, finishing in P6, followed by Anthony Reina, Anthony R. Adams, and Gary Reinheimer. I apologise for butchering your name. I am incredibly sorry. Followed by Jordan Malvar, and then Jimmy Silver coming home in the number 11 spot, Dan Place, followed by Tyler McRae, Colton, Gamba Quarter, and Chris Kamaya rounding out your top 15 today. That is your winner, Michael Crafton. It's been a very interesting race for sure. I've certainly enjoyed it. I'm sure you guys did too. My name is Finney Fitzsimmons. This was the Pro Street Stock Series presented by Team Goon Squad. We'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.